Our next performer is going to spend the holidays handing out Christmas cookies and extremely flattering compliments to one and all. The praiseworthy Kendall Dixon.
Good evening. I moved out to Vancouver when I was 21 years old from Ontario with absolutely nothing, because that's what you do when you're 21. And I just assumed everything would work out. And by the second year, I was in trouble. And by Christmas of that year, for a very brief moment, it looked like I was going to be homeless. However, by some miracle, I managed to find a place to live. And in my home, I had a piece of foamy that I slept on and my guitar. And that's it. Now, the funny thing about my guitar is the year before, a friend of mine had taken it upon herself to buy a case for my guitar. And when she was about to do that, she called me up and said, "What color do you want the interior to be?" Very innocently, never having purchased a guitar case, I thought I could pick any color. So I said, well, I don't know. Why not baby blue? 2 weeks later, she was extremely upset with me when she informed me there's no such thing as baby blue. She'd been to every store in the Lower Mainland and had been laughed out of every store. Apparently, they come in black and gold, and that's it. So I'm in this apartment with a piece of foamy that I'm sleeping on, and my guitar, which was a very cheap guitar, was in an extremely expensive guitar case. So I meet my neighbor, and it turns out he's a musician. And he suggests that we go to this movie called Tous les Matins du Monde, which is, gorgeous, gorgeous film about a musician, a viola player. Pardon me. And it's set in the Baroque period in France, and it's absolutely gorgeous. But at one point in the film, the main character picks up his instrument and he smashes it to pieces. And for some reason, it just moved me so much, I started to cry. And I remember thinking, I could never live without my guitar. And we walk home in the rain, and as soon as I walk into my apartment, I know immediately something's changed. And I can see that there's this small footprint on the inside ledge of my window. And I look, and my guitar has been stolen. And I couldn't believe that while I had been crying over a fictional character breaking his instrument, that a real person had been stealing mine. So I burst into tears, and I'm crying, and I call my mom, and I'm sobbing uncontrollably, and I'm inconsolable. And I know my mom's never seen me like that. I've never been like that before. And when I went to sleep that night, I remember thinking, I just want to disappear. I just want to disappear. And that night I had a very interesting dream. I dreamt that I was in the woods. I've never dreamt about zebras before, but I was in these woods, and a herd of zebras come up to me, and I put my arms around the lead zebra's neck, and it whispers in my ear, and it says, "Don't you know we'll never leave you?" And for some reason, when I woke up, it sucked. My guitar was gone, but I was no longer sobbing uncontrollably about it. I had come to some kind of a deep acceptance, and then the phone rang. And it was my mom. And over the evening, she had decided that she would buy me a new guitar, which for her was a huge deal to be able to do that. Now, I should have used the money for food, but instead I ran right down to Word Music on East Hastings, and I tried every guitar in the place. And all I can say is none of them were right. I mean, even though I had a really cheap guitar, it had a very warm tone. It had its own voice. And I sat there very dejectedly, and I explained this to the sales fellow, and he said, I think I have the guitar for you. And he goes in the back, and he brings out this guitar, and he says, "This is a handmade guitar that was brought in on consignment recently, and it's in your price range." And I thought, oh my God, like a handmade guitar that I can afford? It just seemed like a miracle. And he said, and the funny thing is, it's made out of zebra wood. And I've never heard of that before. And I was like, give it to me. So I grabbed the guitar, and I play the one song I can play, because I can't actually play the guitar. And then he says, "Oh, and it comes with a case. And before I can stop myself, I'm like, is it baby blue inside? And then he just looks at me like, you're not one of those girls who's going to say no to the perfect guitar because of the color of the inside of the case. And then he says, I don't know. And he turns and he shouts across the whole store, hey, Mac, is that case baby blue inside? And there's this long pause in which I think I shrink about 50%. And all of a sudden this guy sticks his head out the back of the storage room and he says, yeah, it is. So to this day, I still have what I very affectionately call the blue zebra. And I brought it tonight just to show you. Because no one ever believes me. There really are blue interior guitar cases, okay?